on their facilities.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Slice Pizza has been the first to put in an application for outside dining in the public right of way.
Nice.
That's great.
I wanted to ask about that project, actually. They're asking for community input, like letters and emails to be sent. Is that okay?
I'm not sure. The application process, since it's in the public right of way, actually goes to Public Works, not planning.
Oh, okay.
And I think there is an outreach portion to both reach out to adjoining property owners, neighbors, to make sure that I don't recall that being one of the application requirements. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Okay, I saw a post on social media that said, please submit letters of support. And then they asked that they be emailed to the business directly. And so I was just kind of wondering what was going on, but interesting.
I'm not sure. I don't think that will hurt, but I don't think it's a requirement. Concerns raised so far. So.
Oh, why does my screen say your name? Let me figure.
Because everyone's using my link. So we have a new program, and what it does is it generates for planning commissioners and those that are going to be panelists that are going to possibly present an email with an invitation. It wasn't all that clear, and it was sent out maybe close to a week or two ago. And Deborah followed that up last week saying, look out for this email and use mine as an example. But that's not to say to use mine, but to look back for the previous one with your own custom link. And so I think that's may explain what's going on, is that it may have got lost in the shuffle, but everyone's here. Hopefully everyone has their audio is working, and you can try to rename and just go in there and just change your name back to your own. And that way we can, for anybody in the public that participates, they'll know who the real Justin Meek is and who's who.
By the way, Justin, just to echo that, it was totally unclear. So
that's why
totally
I was confused by it too. I got that email. I was like, what is this? And it's a function of how this program works. And so admin staff is going to be looking into how to improve on it, but just to know to look out for that email about a week or so prior, and that's the one to use. It's a way to ensure that you come directly in as a panelist, as opposed to coming in as a member of the public and then being brought in. So it's intended to save a step, and obviously there's some bugs to work through.
Is Susie here?
He is. She was on and she logged off. And
Oh, okay.
Justin,
You're
I'm sorry. I'm working. Trying to troubleshoot with Elena. I'm trying to figure out where the city attorney is, because we cannot move forward without the public being able to access this meeting. And right now it's just all of us. So bear with us.
okay. So don't start the meeting yet, is what you're saying.
Don't start the meeting yet.
No
Hold
problem.
tight. Hold
Go
tight.
away.
Sounds good.
Go. Oh, sorry.
for anyone that hasn't, you can take your cursor in the upper right corner, that blue box and three little dots, click on that, and it should allow you to rename if you haven't done so already.
Your Justin Meek should have me behind it. Like if it's you in the Justin Meek box, it will say, like, it'll be at the top and you should be able to click and rename, but it'll identify yourself as you. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, so when I open my window, in the upper right-hand corner, there's, if you put the cursor there, a blue box with 3 little dots. You click on the 3 little dots, and one of the options at the bottom should be Selenium. When we open that up, it'll open up a new little window, and then you can put in your own name, and that, and there won't be so many adjustments. Like Susie, I'm worried about why members of the public seemingly aren't able to come in as attendee. I'm gonna log off for a second. I'll be right back.
Hey, Wyatt.
All right, just keep holding. I'm hearing that we've got people trying to log on that obviously are from the public. So hold on, we're trying to fix it.
I can see the live stream on my phone, but I can't.
And on your phone, are you referring to live stream through Facebook?
No, I went to the website and clicked on the link um, inside the calendar.
Let's see. So on the Plan Commissioner calendar, you say that links work.
Yeah, but it just works. I don't think I can like comment or anything. It's also on my phone, which is weird for me. I usually don't do it on my phone.
Yeah, so so this is eScribe Publisher where it's playing the live stream. I can see that. That's for viewing purposes.
No, this is, I went to the website and clicked on the link and said, instead of calendar.
It's really laggy.
There's a little bit of a lag between live and
Yeah, but it just works.
Think I can like comment or anything.
Okay, I just checked the website one, and when I clicked on it, it still says it's waiting for the host to let me in. So I'm so sorry. Just hopefully a couple more minutes. Elena and Erwin are saving the day. Erwin is having to republish everything on the city's website so the public can get access to this. That's going to take another 5 minutes. So I'd suggest we just plan on convening in 5 minutes. Sound good? All right, I'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you. Looks like it's working.
Susie, did you have a lot of telecommunications courses when you got your master's degree at Penn?
No, surprisingly, they didn't really have that back then. I hate to say that's already, gosh, it's been 20 years
Yeah.
yesterday.
Did you explain to poor Lucy that it's not like this every month?
Well, luckily you were here last month and everything went swimmingly. So yeah, this is, I think this happened to us at the beginning of COVID when we were figuring out online stuff, and it hasn't happened since. So
I don't know, it could be coincidence, but I know Dan Dodge is online.
I'm sure it's not a coincidence.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
That's what happens when I show up early for a meeting.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's what threw it all off, I'm sure.
Yeah, it could be. Whose house are you at, Dan?
Well, I got tired of seeing my own Zoom background, so I picked out a set from The Young and the Restless. So I'm in The Young and the Restless.
Yeah, okay.
Because I had to keep the logo on the corner over here so that I didn't get trademark infringed. So
No, whatever you do,
I've kind of grown used to the living room. It's nice and warm in here, by the way.
whatever you do, don't let anybody with dirty clothes sit in that chair.
Do we start or no?
I think, yeah, there's just one more. Hold on, let me see. Yep, looks like we are good to go. I think just as a housekeeping item, as Justin was mentioning earlier, we want to make sure that all the commissioners are not named Justin. So let's see. Dan, I'm trying to figure.
Where do I locate it? Because when he was telling to go to the upper corner, I see a mute button there.
Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, it's all used.
Daniel, click chat.
So here's how I found it. If you go down to, let me see. Yeah, if you, okay. Okay, if you go down to the bottom of the screen and you see the thing that says participants.
Go to the bottom of your screen. Yeah.
Yes.
And click on participants. It's gonna open up all the participants, and then you should be the Justin me that is at the top that says me in parentheses.
Participants.
Or you could just hold that paper up for an hour. Does that say Daniel Dodge on your paper? I thought you were holding up your name card.
Yeah. So were you able to open participants? Do you see Justin Meek and then me in parentheses at the top? Yay! All right. We're good to go. All right. Okay.
Real quick, Susie.
Yes.
Jane Barr's trying to sign on. Can you give her the link in the email message I just sent over?
Okie dokie.
Let's see here.
Let's see. The link on the website should work now. So she should be able to get on. All right. Okay, yeah, Anna, go ahead and let's get started.
Okay.
I'll-
Good evening, everybody, and sorry for the delays. And as you all know, we are in the midst of a challenging time, and internet and Zooming are the norm. So we all have to do, just be patient and what we can here. So thank you to the city staff for working on this and making it accessible to all. So welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. And could we please start with item number 1, roll call?
Acosta,
Here.
Cole,
Here,
Dodge,
Present.
Durantes Polito,
Here.
Cameron,
Here.
Rojas,
Here.
Beach Olson,
Here.
Looks like everybody's present and accounted for. Susie, I have a question for you. Do I need to explain the absence policy, or do we just move on?
Yeah, if you want to explain that, that's fine.
Okay, so for board and commission meetings, we have a policy that says that if somebody is absent, after roll call, if somebody's absent, then what we will do is make a motion to accept that absence. I believe that's how it goes. And if you are going to be absent for a meeting, what you do is either you notify the chair and staff that you're going to be absent from the meeting. So let's say I was going to be absent for tonight's meeting. I would notify the staff, I would notify Susie and let her know. And then during roll call, I wouldn't be here. And then there would be a motion from one of the commissioners to accept my absence. It would be excused if I had told staff in advance that I was going to not be at the meeting. Or if I didn't tell anybody in advance, then it would be an unexcused absence, which could be commuted to excused if at the next meeting I ask for kind of forgiveness that I didn't notify anybody. So it's a new policy for absences at meetings.
Is this a citywide policy or is this something that's been?
For boards and commissions and the city, yeah.
And the city council adopted this policy, or was this just an administrative decision?
Susie, can you answer that question, please?
Yeah, I might actually ask the city attorney to expand on this a little bit. My understanding is this was an existing policy that just hasn't necessarily been followed for boards and commissions.
Yeah, Dan, I can't remember whether it's in the protocols or it's in the actual municipal code, but it has been adopted by the council. And what I would suggest is maybe I could email that to you either later tonight or tomorrow.
Whenever that'd be
Yeah,
appreciated.
thanks for asking. Good question.
Ellen, would that be something you'll be sending all of us, correct?
I can do that, certainly.
Thank you.
I'm happy to do that.
Appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you. Are there any more questions about that policy? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 2, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. And, oh. There- Should we just do it with the flag, the little flag, or the wait for the big flag? There we go. Okay. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
To the
United
flag
States of America
of the United States of America
and to the republic
and to the republic
for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation, under
one
God,
nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty
indivisible,
and
with
justice for
liberty
all.
and justice for all.
Okay, so I hope everybody's doing well this evening. And again, once again, thank you so much for your patience with all of our challenges. Let's move on to item number 3, which is oral communications from the public and from the Planning Commission. And this time is set aside for members of the general public to address the Planning Commission on any item not on the agenda tonight. So are there any members of the public who wish to address the Planning Commission tonight?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 3B, which is oral communications from the commission. Are there commissioners that have oral communications? Commissioner Cole.
I just wanted a big shout out to the City of Watsonville, Parks and Community Services, Community Bike Collective, the Mountain Bikers of Santa Cruz, Bell Helmets as a joint venture to get the pump track at Ramsey Park is really, really close to opening. There was a meeting out there this last weekend and our last Friday, and folks were there will be a virtual ribbon cutting. I don't have the exact date for that, but we're getting really, really close to opening the track for everybody to play on. So I'm really excited about that. So look for that coming.
Definitely exciting news. Are there other commissioners that would like to have oral communications? Commissioner Dodge.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to bring up an issue because I compiled an email that I'll be sending to Public Works Department. Great group of guys who work there, etc. I received a property notice that was notified by putting it up on. Excuse me, I still have the COVID after effects where I stutter a lot. I apologize. So I was notified, local residents and property owners, that there was going to be doing a sewer replacement in Madison Alley, which is located behind Lincoln Street in Madison, heavily trafficked area. Work began on the project and it became worked on Waters Alley, which was torn apart and construction for several days. There was no notification to the neighbors and myself. They asked me to bring it up. I did talk to an inspector on site who said it's listed on the Facebook site of the City of Watsonville. I looked on the Facebook site. It was not currently listed there. My guess is it was a change order that caused this to be able to happen. You know, I can't believe in 2021 that the City of Watsonville would only have a listing for construction sites on Facebook and not even on our own website. I found it a little disconcerting for several of my neighbors who work from home now. There's loud construction noise. I mean, while that might seem trivial, people who conduct business on Zoom, it's a major inconvenience. So I would like to alert Public Works to that. I did speak with an inspector on site. I find it hard to think that our work construction orders, change orders, and inconveniences to the public are only listed on Facebook, which many of us, well, I'll speak for myself, that really don't like to regularly use Facebook due to some of the controversies that go on behind that are in the public media. So help, if you could post it, if something can be posted on a telephone pole and it's incorrect information, that I think that's an inconvenience to residents in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dodge. Are there other commissioners that have oral communications? Seeing none, we will then move on to item number 4A, which is nomination and election of Planning Commission Chair. Commissioner Cole.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to acknowledge that Jane Barr came on after public comment, and since there aren't very many attendees, if it's okay to ask if she wanted to make a public comment. I don't know. I'm just asking. I know she came on after public comment. She had trouble getting on.
He just chatted and said
Susie,
she's good.
Alan. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. No, thank you, because I know again, it's challenging for all of us. So, it's we just have to go with it. This is the way we do things these days. I know. So what I'd like to do for nomination of chair and then after that vice chair is turn this over to the secretary, Ms. Miriam. So Susie, please take it away.
All right, thank you. So during the deliberations and your voting for chair and vice chair, I will be taking over running the meeting. So at this point, and just to let you all know, per our bylaws, we do not need to have a second to any of the nominations. And then we can either do a vote by roll call or just aye or nay. Why don't we, Alan, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think you have it correct, Susie. You would open the nomination and people could nominate people for the first position, for example, chair. And then once the nominations were all complete and everybody was satisfied that they did not wish to nominate any other person for that position, you would close the nominations, and then members of the commission, or for that matter, members of the public, could speak to that nomination and say they support it or oppose it and why. And then once that's complete, it would come back to the secretary, Susie, who would then call the vote, and you would vote on that nomination, and the majority vote wins. And then once that's complete, you would go to the next nomination and basically repeat the same process. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but that is, as Susie said, that's the way both essentially Robert's rules operate and the way the city planning commission rules operate. So just to make clear that you do not need a second, or don't need to make a motion and have 5 people support the motion to nominate somebody. You just nominate them, and then that person becomes a candidate for that position. Questions?
Any
I'll get
questions?
out of the way then.
Okay. Yes, Lucy.
I just wanted, I'm sorry, I was just skimming the bylaws really quickly. So if that's there, please, I apologize. How long is the term for chair?
A year.
A year. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so why don't we open it up for nominations for Planning Commission Chair? Would anyone like to make a nomination? Okay, I think I saw Daniel Dodge first and then Gina Cole.
I wanted to nominate Gina Cole for the chair of the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you. All right, Gina?
I wanted to nominate Genevieve Olson for the chair of the Planning Commission.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right, seeing none, I'm going to open it up to the public. And I do not see anyone from the public with hands raised, so I will bring it back to the Planning Commission.
Susie, can
yeah.
I just jump in real quickly and say that if any person who is nominated wishes to decline the nomination, they have the right to do so. And this would be the appropriate time if you choose to do so. Thank you.
Would anyone like to decline the nomination?
I would like to decline the nomination at this time.
All right, so we have a nomination for Jenny.
Thank you, Daniel, but thank you.
Okay, we've got a nomination for Jenny Beach Olson as chair of the Planning Commission. Any other comments before we go to vote?
If I could, I forgot your title, Susie. I think we have two very good candidates. That and Gina, I think I wanted to nominate Gina Cole because she's been invaluable in our community for many years and has helped a great deal of people, both out in their actions in public and the actions that people don't know about. And I have a lot of respect for her like that. And I think she'd do well in leadership in our community. And that's why I nominated Gina Cole.
Thank you. All right, so I guess we can, do we want to do just a roll call? I don't know. Okay, well, let's see. I will do the roll call because I'm not seeing anyone on here that might be able to do that. I don't see.
So Susie, if I understand it now, if it were two candidates standing, the persons who are voting would have to say who the person is. But since we only have one candidate standing, the vote would be a yes or a no.
A yes or a no. Correct. Okay, do we have Deborah or Elena that's able to do the roll call?
Yeah, I can do the roll call.
Okay, thank you.
Acosta,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Dodge,
Yes, yes.
Durantes Polito,
Yes.
Cammer,
Yes.
Beach Olson,
Yes.
Rojas.
Yes.
All right, thank you. One down, one to go. So I will open it up for nominations for vice chair. Would anyone like to make a nomination?
I'd like to make a nomination.
Sure.
Durantes Polito.
Do you accept?
Yes, I accept. I love to learn, so I am definitely ready for the challenge.
All right, great. Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? Yes, Gina.
I'd like to nominate Anna Kammer.
Commissioner Kammer, do you accept the nomination?
I'd like to decline simply because I have been vice chair this year, and I would like to say that it would be really nice to have a new person in that position. So I don't know if I can say this, but I'd love to give Commissioner Durantes Pulido a chance to, take on that challenge if she would like to. Not that it's that much of a challenge.
All right, great, thank you. Any other nominations? Seeing none, I will open it up to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, I will bring it back to the commission. Any final remarks before we go to the roll call?
I have one.
Yeah.
First, Commissioner Acosta, thank you for making the nomination, and I wholeheartedly support the nomination of Commissioner Durantes Polito, and I really appreciate what Commissioner Kammer said about empowering other leadership on our commission, and I am so glad that Commissioner Durantes Polito accepted and is willing to give it a shot, and I think she'll be great. And you've shown that you are a quick learner and that you're committed to the work that we do here. So thank you for stepping up.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever, right? Just take it from me.
No.
Thank you.
Piece of
Thank
cake.
you for your kind words, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, on that note, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Acosta,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Dodge,
Yes.
Durantes Polito,
Yes.
Kammer,
Yes.
Rojas,
Yes.
Beach Olson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And with that, I will turn the meeting over to our new chair, Veach Olson, and congratulations to Vice Chair Durantes Polito. Okie dokie. Take it away.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the nomination, and then for voting me in to serve in this role. And I hope that we can continue to do it smoothly in our Zoom format, and perhaps one day this year meaning in the next coming year, we'll meet again in person, but who knows, that remains to be seen. And so I look forward to continuing to serve alongside you and hopefully lead us through some exciting new developments in our city. To be perfectly transparent, I don't have an agenda in front of me tonight. So I am going to scramble to pull up the email, but I believe the next thing on our agenda is the update on the downtown project. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is the update on the downtown Watsonville specific plan. And we have Simran Malhotra from Ramey and Associates that is going to give that presentation.
Awesome. And I promise this will be the first and last time that I don't have the agenda in front of me. So I'm sorry.
Good evening, Chair Beach Olson and members of the commission, and congratulations to you on your new position, as well as you, Vice Chair Durantes Polito. Look forward to presenting tonight and getting your feedback, and also as we continue our work on the specific plan, to hear from you as we go through this process. Again, my name is Simran Malhotra. I'm a principal with Ramey and Associates, and we are leading a multidisciplinary team for the preparation of the downtown Watsonville specific plan. Let's share my screen here so you can. Think you can see my screen? All right. The downtown specific plan will provide a vision, goals and policies, and zoning regulations for downtown Watsonville. It'll provide regulations for what uses are allowed, how much can be built, and what standards such as height, setbacks, parking, and other design elements are permitted within downtown. It will also contain recommendations for mobility and infrastructure and for other elements of the public realm, such as sidewalks, street trees, street amenities, etc. The specific plan will also contain anti-displacement and affordable housing strategy. The project area is in downtown, and it encompasses about 195 acres of land. Of that amount of area, about 55 acres is streets or in the public right-of-way. And I'd also like to point out that the specific plan is funded by a Sustainable Communities grant from Caltrans. So I'm here to give you an update on the process so far and what we have heard from the community regarding their vision and the issues and opportunities for downtown that they've identified to date. I'll also briefly cover some of our initial findings and the urban form analysis that our team has prepared. And then I'll end with the vision and guiding principles that were based on community input, as well as that from the advisory committee and, of course, our team and staff. Just a quick overview of the overall process and schedule. We've been working with a 18-member advisory committee that was appointed by the City Council to help guide the process. Two of those members are here on the Planning Commission, so you've heard some of what I'm going to present today before. Chair Beach Olson and Commissioner Cole are on the advisory committee, and Jane Barr, who's in the audience, is also on the advisory committee. Since the project kicked off, we have completed the analysis of existing conditions and developed a long-term vision and framework for downtown. We've also conducted extensive engagement with the community that I'll describe in the next few slides. And we are currently working on creating design alternatives that we'll bring to the advisory committee and the community over the next few months. We will then bring back those alternatives as well as the feedback we have received to the Planning Commission and City Council. Following that, in the latter part of this year, we will begin to develop development and design regulations, establish a policy framework, and conduct an environmental analysis over the following 6 months or so. And then we expect to have a public draft of the document by the end of this year, beginning of 2022. Going into a bit more detail, we have completed existing conditions reports for various topics. These are all available on the project website. And these topics include land use, urban design, mobility, utilities, among others. We've also completed a market assessment report that looks at the current, actually pre-COVID conditions that were in place in downtown, and some of the major gaps that have been identified as needs to revitalize downtown. Based on this analysis, we have identified sub-areas, what we are calling downtown character areas, that we are studying more deeply. And I'll describe these later on in the presentation as well. And we have prepared vision themes and guiding principles that have been reviewed and refined with the community. I'll review these later on as well. Over the last year and a half, we have interviewed well over a dozen stakeholders. And these included local property owners, businesses, representatives from social service organizations, some of you planning commissioners and city council members. And working with the advisory committee, we've met with them several times, both in a group setting, which are open to the public and pretty well attended, and also in one-on-one meetings. We've held one community workshop that focused on issues, opportunities, and constraints. And we had over 40 attendees at the meeting who joined the Zoom meeting. And then in addition, it was streamed live on Facebook where there were multiple attendees as well. And then in tandem with the workshop, we issued the first community survey related to strengths, issues, and opportunities. And that received over 660 responses over a relatively short period of 6 weeks. And that's a very high response rate. So to us, it signified the interest this project has for not just those who live in and around downtown, but across Watsonville. When we prepared the vision themes and guiding principles, and those were presented to the advisory committee in December of last year. And then we posted that on the project website to get additional comments. And we received over 100 public comments, giving us very good feedback on how to make revisions to those. The final vision themes and guiding principles were included in your packet, or I think they were sent to you today. They're also available on the project website. So the next few slides then summarize what we have heard from the community, and this consolidates what we heard at the workshops, from the stakeholders, at the advisory committee meetings, and the input through the surveys. And we've categorized these into several buckets, starting with what are the strengths of downtown, and followed by issues and some of the opportunities that have been identified. The strengths in downtown include the unique nature of the city and downtown, with the plaza as its crown jewel. The plaza itself is such a unique place, and as we were talking earlier, it is such a well-used community resource that it needs to be preserved at all costs and celebrated through the specific plan and in the city. The historic origins of downtown also contribute greatly in terms of what the walkable street grid it provides, and also the historic architecture, which was noted as beloved to most. In terms of the kinds of uses that are already in place and are a big draw, the farmers market came up again and again as being a major draw for the larger Watsonville community, and is something that should continue to be maintained. However, there were some issues that came up in our engagement and what we heard, and these included the desire to see more variety of uses in downtown. There's also a lack of density, of residential density in downtown, so there aren't enough people living here to create the synergy and an 18-hour downtown environment that you would typically see in a downtown, and those who want to see it here in Watsonville. There were also concerns expressed about traffic speeds, especially on Main Street, and congestion, and tied to that, impacts on bicycle and pedestrian safety. Other concerns included safety and addressing homelessness and mental health issues. There were also several who expressed a fear of gentrification, displacement, and the desire to preserve local businesses. And in terms of opportunities, we again heard a lot about the desire to see more diverse uses and activities. Downtown anchors such as Cabrillo College bring young people to downtown, and to keep them there and to provide for activities and places for them to visit and frequent. And then across the board, we heard that there was a need for more housing at all price levels, whether it's market rate, low income, or affordable. There are many sites were identified as potential sites for infill housing. Other opportunities included building on existing resources within downtown, and these included a strong presence of nonprofits that provide services to residents. And there's ample space to attract new businesses that serve the missing services and needs that you would see typically in a downtown, and those in the community have identified. We also heard from residents that there's an opportunity to make improvements to the pedestrian and bicycle environment by making it more friendly and providing opportunities for and allowing outdoor dining, outdoor seating, shade in terms of street trees, lighting, and signage, among other pedestrian amenities. So the desire to create a place and to use the public realm within downtown to provide that interface between the public realm and the private realm, where it makes it more attractive for those visiting. This input was then incorporated into the development of the vision and guiding principles that I'll review later on in the presentation. In addition to the community feedback, the existing context and our team's analysis identified additional issues, opportunities, and constraints. And the next few sections provide an overview of existing conditions and some initial issues and opportunities that have been identified. I'll do a quick review of demographics and existing uses, and then overview the street networks and the character areas. Starting with the demographic assessment for downtown, a fraction of the city's population lives within the boundaries of the specific plan, only 4% of the city's population. Although just immediately adjacent to the boundary, there are established residential neighborhoods, and these extend to the east, north, and west of the project boundary. The median age of downtown residents is also younger than that of the city, and as well as the county. And both downtown and the city are much more diverse compared to the Santa Cruz County as a whole. Additionally, the median household income in downtown is much lower compared to the city, but we've found that their housing costs are quite high in some specific specific pockets. In terms of existing land uses, there are a mix of uses that are here. As a percentage of land area, commercial, civic, and institutional uses cover more than half of the land within the project boundaries. And these include retail, commercial, as well as civic. In addition, there are religious, industrial, and public open space uses, as well as residential. The map on the screen shows the existing land use patterns. The majority of the housing units in downtown are multifamily. These are a mix of duplexes, garden-style apartments, some higher density buildings, as well as single-family homes. And these are overwhelmingly rented occupied as compared to the rest of the city and the county. And most of this housing is fairly old. In fact, there are many homes or clusters of homes that are historic. From a land use perspective, the historic buildings give downtown its unique and authentic character. And downtown also has a strong street network with a clear hierarchy, and it is relatively easy to improve connectivity as development occurs. And the next set of slides include an overview of the street network and our analysis of its physical form. So to start with, we have Main Street, which bisects downtown, and a portion of this is a Caltrans facility going northwards from Beach towards Santa Cruz. There are two major Caltrans routes running through here, and these include Riverside Drive, which goes to Santa Cruz and Monterey to the west, and to Hollister on the east, and this is State Route 129. State Route 152 runs along East Lake Avenue, East Beach Street, which for some reason isn't showing up as blue, and then turns and goes northwards along Main Street towards Santa Cruz and connects with Highway 1. Other streets that contribute to the street network are Rodriguez and Walker Street, both of which, as well as the Union Brennan Street, both of which end within downtown. So both Brennan, Union, and Rodriguez end at the Pajaro River on the south, and then end within the boundaries either by teeing into another street, Freedom Boulevard for Brennan, or dead ending for Rodriguez. Walker Street continues northward and becomes Harkins Slough Road, and it provides access to Watsonville Slough as well. The rest of the streets provide local access within downtown to the existing urban fabric. The historic depot is located off of Walker Street, and that connects to the heart of downtown along Westlake Street. An important observation of the grid pattern in downtown is the presence of fairly long blocks. Typical walkable blocks generally range from 250 to 400 feet in length aside, but those in length are mostly 600 feet or longer. The plaza block has the right dimension for a downtown friendly walk. And additional connectivity will be needed as we, through these larger blocks, as shown here, to encourage walkability and connectivity across downtown. Now, these additional connections can be pedestrian only, or should be pedestrian only, and may allow bicycle access as well. While there's a strong existing street network, there are several constraints and opportunities that relate to the street system. I talked about the block length earlier. There are several constraints that are related to the Caltrans facilities. The streets shown in the red dashed lines are those which are state routes today, and they have short-term and limited options, at least in the short term. Our team is exploring design options for these streets to see how to make these more pedestrian friendly within the constraints that Caltrans imposes on these streets, but also to begin to consider additional ideas and concepts which might allow the city to take over at least portions of these streets and then have more control over what happens on them. Besides the issues related to Caltrans controls, other constraints that have been identified include the sidewalk width, which is fairly narrow for a downtown setting. Most sidewalks are 10 feet wide or less, and the typical width is usually in 15 feet or more. So there's an opportunity there to, at least in some areas, to widen sidewalks for additional space for pedestrians. And to that end, that additional space would also help with providing room for more and consistent street amenities such as street trees, pedestrian scale lighting, street furniture, and a wayfinding system. And now the character areas or sub areas. While downtown is relatively small in area, there are several sub areas within it that have a distinct character. And these areas are different in land uses, building form issues, and the kinds of opportunities that they present. And we've identified 6 areas that I'll walk through. Very briefly, there's the historic, downtown historic core in the heart of downtown around the plaza. There's the Civic core, which captures the Civic Plaza as well as the other civic functions that are located in that area. We have identified commercial flex in this purple area all around, which is more of a transitional zone moving to the east and west, which have residential neighborhoods. And then finally, we have the workplace industrial zone character area, which is at the eastern end along Walker Street. This is adjacent to the larger West Side industrial area, which is located across the street from Walker to the west. Starting with downtown core, the downtown core is the heart of downtown, and it's anchored around the historic plaza. It also has some of the most of the historic buildings that are within downtown. Some of these are on the National Register of Historic Places. And these buildings, built generally around the turn of the previous century, also help in creating a consistent street wall, which makes downtown Watsonville so unique and so precious to so many. However, there are some constraints, as you can see in the images on the screen, with the photograph in the middle top row. Some of these building frontages are non-contributing. They either lack storefronts or openings altogether, or they've been closed off, or they're covered up with signage or other merchandise to limit transparency into those structures. There's also opportunities for adaptive reuse of some of these buildings, and there are several parking lots and vacant sites that offer infill opportunities. There's limited housing in the downtown core. It is not yet fully a mixed-use district. It doesn't yet function as an 18-hour downtown, which is what most successful downtowns are. Moving to the south, to the Civic core district, this is anchored by City Hall and the new joint use library, police station, and the post office, which is located to the south here. This area predominantly has a more suburban development pattern where buildings are set back behind parking and large landscape setbacks. As I noted, the post office especially is a large non-contributory element. It is essentially surrounded in a sea of parking and doesn't really, the building doesn't engage with the street. Similarly, some of the other city facilities on the across Main Street are also set fairly far back and are more inward facing in their character. The new parking structure that's located is on 2nd Street and Rodriguez. It adds to the downtown shared parking supply on nights and weekends, and that's a great resource. And then the city owns and controls several key parcels within this sub-area that would allow an opportunity for redevelopment. One of the opportunities we are considering is to look at this block between Maple, Union, First, and Main as a potential redevelopment site, which could allow for intensification of that site, and then some of the public or civic uses could be consolidated along with the fire station on the fire station site with the parking lot. So there are some opportunities to explore on these two key sites. The area surrounding these two districts is, as I noted, an amorphous area that will likely get further subdivided. It has widely varied development patterns, ranging from urban to very suburban and a mix of residential and commercial uses. There are also very large block sizes that limit walkability. In some sections, as you can see in the top left, there are much of the original or authentic building stock is still in place, and it could be revitalized with some relatively minor improvements. In other cases, such as the site on the bottom, where the buildings are set far back with a sea of parking in the front, there is more work to be done to restore the street wall and create a more pedestrian-friendly environment. Along Brennan Street, there are many existing single-family homes, many of which have been converted to commercial and office uses. And along Rodriguez, as you can see with the building on the bottom right, there are many buildings which have very large floor plates, which make it hard to find a single user to occupy these. So they will need to have some creative ideas on how to deal with some of these properties. There are also several vacant sites and several parking lots and other underutilized sites that all provide opportunity for infill housing in downtown. And these could be vertical mixed use if located along Main Street, or standalone residential projects if located on Union or Brennan or Rodriguez. The Workplace Industrial Flex District is along Walker and is a transition from the commercial flex going westwards towards the industrial area. And it's characterized by some light industrial businesses that were originally serviced by rail. It used to be a strong jobs base, but this specific area has a good opportunity to provide, it provides good opportunity for new businesses to locate here. And these businesses could be, in our mind, not traditional retail, but those which serve both functions. So maker spaces, creative office spaces, brew pubs. There's a bakery there already. So the kind of creative spaces that both cater to the public, but also have more of a manufacturing role. So this, over time, we believe this area could get revitalized with those kind of uses. There could also be some infill housing here. An example of what we are thinking of is the Funk Zone in Santa Barbara, if you're familiar with that area. The other two neighborhoods, and I'll quickly get through these, are the downtown neighborhoods, one to the west, which is between the industrial flex here and the commercial flex to the east, is has a strong mix of uses. There's some multifamily, commercial, and limited industrial, mostly in suburban patterns. And there are some incompatibility of uses because of some residential located directly adjacent to industrial. And there are also very large blocks. Some are over 1,000 feet long, which really deter walkability. But its location is, it's a very short walk to the downtown and Civic core. And because of that, this area has a lot of potential for continuing to build on residential uses, which are in close proximity to both jobs and preserve and enhance the residential stock that's already here. There's also many historic homes within this neighborhood. And finally, the downtown Flex neighborhood. This has a mix of traditional single-family homes, many of which are historic, but also have been converted to office uses. And then there's commercial, public, and industrial uses as well. This area then transitions further eastward to the historic single-family residential neighborhood. There's a significant amount of original buildings here that creates an authentic character. And besides the residential structures that are in this character area, it also has the Martinelli's building, which is a significant resource. It's a landmark building, both in terms of its architecture, but also in terms of the role it plays in the history of Watsonville and the location of a major city employer and where it all started as far as Martinelli's is concerned. There's also the Veterans Memorial Building, school, and the church, which are historic resources. So in summary, the downtown character areas begin to establish the vision for these various sub-areas, and these will be continue to be refined as we progress with our design work. The vision themes and guiding principles that we've developed will also influence the physical, regulatory, and social framework for downtown. And as I noted earlier, these have been developed and refined with community input. And I'd like to end by walking through these briefly. The vision themes included these 6 elements, which along with the guiding principles will guide the goals and policies in the specific plan. And these include vitality, dignity, equity, preservation, safety, and innovation. The guiding principles, and I won't read through all of these were in the handout you received. These guiding principles are based on the vision themes. And accompanying these broad guiding principles are strategies that direct on how to implement these guiding principles. So very quickly, these slides have a sampling of the strategies associated with each guiding principle. So the guiding principle create housing for all, housing opportunities for all has one of the strategies associated with it is more specific in terms of allowing and encouraging and incentivizing housing market rate, low income, and affordable to support the varied socioeconomic interests and needs of the community. That was considered as very important in what we heard. Another example is for reimagining and innovating mobility options and connections is to design safe pedestrian and bicycle facilities that invite all users regardless of age and ability to use and enjoy. And then based on the community input we received, the last guiding principle on this list was to incorporate sustainable design elements to improve community health. And this included leveraging the connections to the adjacent natural environment, which includes the Pajaro River to the south and the sloughs to the north, with bicycle and walking trails. So with that, I will briefly go over what's next for us. We are giving the City Council an update similar to this one next week. Our team has been working on preliminary land uses, development and design regulations, land use and mobility options, and we are continuing to refine these with staff input. And we'll be bringing these preliminary ideas to the advisory committee and the community over the next couple of months. We'll then bring their feedback back to you and the City Council for your review and direction. And following that, we'll begin crafting the specific plan document and initiate the technical studies for the EIR. That was my presentation, and I know that was a lot of information that came at you at rapid fire pace. So I'm sure you all have a lot of questions. I'll stop sharing this for now, but I can pull up any slide that you'd like to refer to as we have a discussion.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to open it up for questions, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin, was there an additional part of the presentation or?
No, that was okay. I didn't mean to speak over you. I was just noting that Daniel looks like he has a question or comment at some point.
Okay, Commissioner Dodge.
All right, well, thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for taking the time to be able to address that report this evening. I'm glad to, although I tend to resurface from time to time, I have not been part of this plan necessarily. So I do have a couple of questions, and I'll try and be brief. Previously, when I served the city of Watsonville in another manner, I was an advocate for removal of Highway 152 from the state's control and to be able to use our resources. I was told several times at that particular time that let the state maintain the road so that they can redo maintenance on it. So my questions pertaining to what is the status of Highway 152? You talked about moving out several, being able to utilize the streets for parlets and such, you know. How do we do that? 152 still maintaining a great basis of our downtown. And also, I wanted to, should I ask another question? I have another question that I wanted to throw in there, maybe that. The Fox
Sure.
has been cost prohibitive for a long period of time. I know that that's been, you know, you said that that's a great asset. Parking behind the mansion house is private, not public. And so that there's several issues there. And those being two things that you highlighted, I see the challenges and what do you see to address that? And the Civic area where you talked about the post office being seeing as that was a vibrant area of minority-filled businesses historically before the redevelopment was used by the city to be able to make the post office an anchor location. I find it kind of poetic in a way that you say that that's a lot of land use that's not being, that prohibits some of the redevelopment. And when you talk about redevelopment, how do you talk about financing it and the lack of redevelopment being taken over by the state and not allow the cities in the manner? Sorry if that was a lot of questions. I appreciate your time.
Sure, yeah, and those are very good questions, and these are questions that have come up before, and we don't have all the answers yet, but we are still relatively early in the process, but these are things we are looking into as we continue our work. I'll try to answer these to the best I can, and then maybe Susie or Justin can jump in with some additional context that they can provide better than I. Starting with 152. So right now, 152 work as a couplet on Lake and Beach, and then it turns and goes on northwards on Main Street. So the segment of, so taking discussions with Caltrans have essentially led the city to one conclusion. If the city takes over the entire right of way, they have to do it for the entire length within the city boundaries, which would mean that the maintenance and all the deferred maintenance would then be the responsibility of the city. That's certainly something that's not what the city would like to do. But there are other ways, and we are looking at these to see if we can make certain changes to the Caltrans right-of-way while the facilities are still in their control. We've had some meetings with them, and Caltrans has in the last 10 plus years come up with some more downtown friendly and context-specific guidelines that they are willing to explore for facilities that run right through the hearts of cities. And there has been success in other communities in California where they have been able to make some changes that are to the benefit of the local community while still maintaining the functionality that Caltrans desires. So we are looking at some of those design options. With regard to the Fox Theater, yes, retrofitting that would be is an expensive proposition, and again, it wouldn't be something that the city would necessarily undertake. But there are we are exploring with our economist who's on our team potential uses that would make that a viable use that is that doesn't involve the full extent of a restoration as what a restoration would. So to reuse it for other uses that are potentially less burdensome from a financial perspective. With regard to the parking behind Mansionals, you're right, that is private parking, but there are opportunities for those owners, the property owners, to work with the city to potentially redevelop those while providing, consolidating that parking either in a structure or on another site. The specific plan can allow for off-site parking, for example, which it doesn't today to the extent it could. So there are, the specific plan can put in certain zoning mechanisms that allow for that to happen. And then with regard to the post office, I'm not sure what I could add to that, except yes, there is some grim irony in the fact that a neighborhood was removed to locate a post office there, but that's the context we are working in now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you answering my questions. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other questions from commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Cole.
I just wanted to acknowledge the work that's gone into the plan thus far. The stakeholders committee has been really participatory, and the work that your firm has done and the work that Susie and Justin put in has been really extraordinary. And I've got high hopes for this downtown specific plan.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole.
Yeah, Commissioner Kammer.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank the city staff for reaching out to the public in so many ways, because many communities, this community really makes the effort to reach out to the community members and to get opinions of a diverse portion of the city. And so I really want to acknowledge that the city staff has really made it a goal to get the input from so many members of the community, not only the members who live downtown, but also the people who live just outside of downtown. So I really think it's a community effort, and it shows that there is a lot of interest and involvement in this community, and people want to see it thrive and want to keep the historic aspects and plaza, but want to see the community really succeed and thrive. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Rojas.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Simran, I have a question about at the very end of your presentations, and thank you so much. That was it was very engaging to see sort of this review of the city in that way. So thank you very much. At the end of the presentation, you mentioned what the next steps were. And can you give us a sense of what the timeline is, or the trajectory for this work in terms of the next steps?
Yes, of course. I can actually even pull up the schedule that we had at the beginning of the presentation. But we are, as I said, working on the alternatives and some of the design options. Here we go. On the design options. So we are in the winter 2021, coming into spring 2021. So we'll be discussing the alternatives with the advisory committee and the public over the next couple of months. And then over the late spring and through the summer, we'll be developing the plan and begin work on the EIR. So we hope to have the plan ready for review by the end of the year, and then go to hearings in the early part of 2022.
Thank you.
Not to stress it too much, but the preparation of the EIR is a concerted effort too, that usually takes months or more to prepare. So just to let you know, that's also a very large effort as part of this.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation this evening. I really have enjoyed being on the committee, and again, I echo what Commissioner Cole said about it being a very collaborative process, and one that really, I think, represents all the different stakeholders in our community. I particularly liked that slide. I think it was the third one from the end, but it was the one that had this kind of the 6 values of the way that we're thinking about the downtown specific plan. And I think that really encapsulates many of the conversations that have come out of the committee meetings, as well as the things that we all as community members here are valued in our community. So thank you again for your work and for leading us in this process, and look forward to continuing to hear updates, but also like being a part of the next steps, because I did see that it will come to us very soon. So we look forward to that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, members of the commission. Appreciate your time and your thoughtful comments today.
And I just want to take this opportunity if later on, maybe after the meeting or tomorrow, any questions pop into your head that didn't come up during the meeting, you think that I wish I asked that question, feel free to reach out, send me an email, and I'd be happy to respond. Likewise, if you're talking to folks in the community and they ask about the specific plan and raise questions, you feel free to direct them to myself as well. I'd be happy to speak with them.
Thank you, Justin. Well, seeing no further, oh, I believe there is a question from the public, from one of our attendees. Yes, okay. Judy, if you would like to ask your question now, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm wondering if we, the public, can have access to your report.
Excellent question.
Yes.
Absolutely. The PowerPoint that we presented today is posted on the, along with the agenda packet for the Planning Commission. If it isn't already, it should be posted on the project web page as well. All the other documents that we have prepared so far, the vision and guiding principles, previous presentations and recordings, our existing conditions reports, those are all posted on the city's website on the downtown Watsonville specific plan page.
Thank you. Is there a possibility you could put that in the chat, Justin?
I'm just getting a link right now. So just
thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, so you should find the link to the main website for the Downtown Pacific Plan, and all the past meetings and documents with it are there, as well as the existing conditions reports, the vision themes and guiding principles. You'll find all those documents there. If there's anything that you have questions concerning any one of those topics, again, my email address is available on that site. The one that goes to the Downtown Pacific Land gets directed to me, so I will get it, and we'll get back to you promptly.
Any other questions from the public? Judy, do you have another question, or is that just your, okay, go ahead.
Can you speak to the rail and trail project where the rail has been authorized to stay and the trail in segment 18 is already being established, how that interfaces with the downtown plan?
Of course, you're referring to the Monterey Sanctuary Scenic Trail, and the alignment of it runs along Walker Street through downtown.
Correct.
I don't think I had a section of that in this presentation, but let me see if I have that available in another. If I can share my screen briefly. This is the cross section of what the Monterey Bay Sanctuary Scenic Trail might look like on Watsonville. There's a rail track with a middle one-lane travel lane in each direction, along with class 2 bike lanes, and then sidewalks on either side. We are taking this alignment and design into account as we are doing our work. This trail connects to the levee trail along the Pajaro River at the south end of downtown, and then along Walker Street it continues on and connects with the Watsonville Slough off of Harkins Slough Road. So there's a lot of potential in increasing regional connectivity to open space for bicycles and pedestrians, and of course through the on-street rail track.
And I think to your question, Judy, the rail trail along Walker Street is right along the southern or eastern boundary of the project site. And clearly there's the possibility of connecting to it for businesses and for passenger rail once that becomes active by RTC.
Just to add in, yeah, and that's really connecting not only the downtown with the rail trail and the rail line, but as well as with the existing Metro bus station.
Any last questions or comments from either commissioners or members of the public? Okay, well, seeing none, thank you again for being with us this evening for your presentation, and we look forward to hearing future reports and everything. Madam, you're welcome. Madam Secretary, do you have a report for us?
Yeah, with all of the craziness that's happened tonight, I don't have any big updates for you. But thank you. I'm glad we're all able to get online and hold this meeting tonight. And I'm just really excited about the downtown specific plan project and the amount of community engagement that we've had in the process, and how many people in Watsonville really care about the future of the downtown and how interested they are in participating. So it's been really exciting and fun. And gosh darn it, this time it's all going to work, Commissioner Dodge, and these changes are going to happen.
I have complete faith in that. Yes, of course it is.
All right. Thank you, Simran, so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. And with that, I think our meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for bearing with us, and we'll see you next month. Please stay well.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. Bye.